The golden era of Hollywood is often remembered as a time of glamour, glitz, and untouchable stars who seemed larger than life. The dazzling images we see from the 1930s through the 1950s give the impression of a dream world, carefully polished by the studio system. But behind the sparkling premieres, the elaborate sets, and the smiles fixed under bright spotlights, there were whispers of something much darker. Some stars, who had once been the faces of Hollywood's golden dream, began to hint that the industry was not just about talent and hard work, but also power, control, and secret societies. A few even went so far as to suggest that shadowy cult-like groups were pulling the strings from behind the scenes. These weren't baseless claims from outsiders looking in. These were voices from the inside, stars who had everything to lose by speaking out. Many of them wouldn't live long enough to tell their stories in full. Today, we're taking a closer look at some of the golden era icons who died after daring to speak out about what they believed were sinister forces in Hollywood. Their lives and careers, once bathed in light, would end under tragic and mysterious circumstances. Marilyn Monroe. No name is more synonymous with Hollywood than Marilyn Monroe, the ultimate symbol of glamour and beauty. But behind her iconic smile, Monroe's life was anything but charmed. In the months before her death in 1962, Marilyn confided in close friends that she felt like she was being watched, controlled, and used by powerful men. Though most of the public remembers her for her alleged affairs with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, some researchers suggest she knew far more about the political and Hollywood elite than she was supposed to. In private conversations, Marilyn hinted at disturbing rituals and secret gatherings involving some of the most influential people in the world. Her death, ruled as a probable suicide, has been debated for decades. The timing was suspicious, coming just days after she reportedly threatened to hold a press conference exposing what she knew. Many who were close to her never believed she would have taken her own life. Was she silenced for knowing too much? Or was this simply another Hollywood tragedy? To this day, the questions surrounding Marilyn Monroe's final hours remain some of the most haunting in Hollywood history. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield, often compared to Monroe, was another Hollywood bombshell whose death has long been surrounded by speculation. Mansfield was known for her bold personality and her refusal to conform to Hollywood's expectations of silence. By the mid-1960s, she had become entangled with Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan. While some dismissed their association as a publicity stunt, others believed Jayne had seen too much during her time with LaVey and his inner circle. In 1967, Jayne died in a horrific car accident that many found far too strange to be just an accident. The brutality of the crash, and the timing, coming after a series of reported threats, fueled rumors that her death was a warning to others who might think about revealing what happens behind closed doors in Hollywood's elite circles. Even LaVey's biographers later suggested that Jayne's involvement with him was more dangerous than it appeared. Judy Garland. Judy Garland was one of MGM's brightest stars, best remembered for her role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. But Garland's later life was marked by despair, substance abuse, and a deep sense of betrayal by the industry that made her famous. As she grew older, Judy became more outspoken about the mistreatment and exploitation she faced as a young actress. She hinted in interviews that powerful men and secretive groups controlled not just her career but her life. The abuse she endured behind the scenes was far worse than the public realized, and she often spoke of Hollywood as a place of predators hiding behind a mask of glamour. When Judy died in 1969 of an overdose, many considered it the result of years of addiction and depression. But there are those who believe she knew too much about the darker side of Hollywood, particularly the ways in which young stars were groomed and controlled, and that her death was more than just a tragic accident. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell of the 1930s, was one of the first major stars to have her life cut short under mysterious circumstances. At just 26 years old, Harlow died of kidney failure, but those close to her claimed she had been complaining about strange illnesses and feeling that something was off in the months leading up to her death. Some have speculated that Harlow was attempting to distance herself from certain circles in Hollywood, circles that were rumored to have ties to occult practices. Although there is little concrete evidence, the rumors surrounding Harlow's final days remain persistent, suggesting that her death might not have been as natural as it seemed. She had been one of the few stars of her time who openly challenged the studio system and its harsh contracts, and this alone could have made her a target. When we look at these stars, Monroe, Mansfield, Garland, Harlow, and others who spoke out or hinted at the darkness beneath Hollywood's golden surface, a pattern begins to emerge. They were some of the most talented, beloved, and iconic figures of their time. But when they began to push back, to question the power structures or reveal too much, tragedy seemed to follow. The studio system was built on silence, on keeping the public image of stars clean and untouchable, no matter the cost. Anyone who threatened to disrupt that illusion could easily find themselves blacklisted, discredited, or worse.